Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is actually create a layout for our project. That way we can eliminate this repeated code. The way we're going to do that is by using the extends function or method that is given to us by Twig. Let's head back over to our index.php file and work that out. So now our templates here are index.html and contact.html. I'm going to create a new file. This new file is going to be my main layout. So I'm going to type in main and then .twig as the extension to tell the interpreter we're going to use Twig to interpret this and compile it. Now, if I open up my Twig file, I'm going to put in the code here from my index.html file. So this. I want to use everything I can here without repeating it in the next file. So I'm going to go ahead and grab everything here, and I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to head back over to my Twig file and set up my main template. Let's start by pasting in the code from the index.html file. Okay, that's a lot of code. I'm going to hit save on that and go back up to the top. Now I can look at a few things here that I know are going to be repeated, something that I might want to add something to, something that I might want to modify. I'm going to do that by using content blocks. So what I'm going to do first is inside of my head tag here, I'm going to create a tag using the Twig syntax to a block for the head. So I'm going to start with 2 curly braces, and then inside of those, I'm going to do 2 % signs. I'm going to open up some space in there, give it a little wiggle room. Then I'm going to type the keyword block. And then I'm going to type head. This is just an identifier to tell me what block I'm going to actually be modifying. Then I'm going to tab everything that I want in there in one. Then I'm going to close this out by the same way with 2 curly braces and 2 % signs. Except inside of this, I'm going to type end block. Now you can leave it just like this, but I like to give it a little bit more clarity. And instead of just end block, I'll do end block head. That tells me it's ending that particular block. Just good for readability. I'm going to save that, and that's my first step. That means that I can modify that block as much or as little as I want in any file that extends this main template or main Twig file. What other sections could we do this for? Okay, we're definitely going to want to do it for that flash feedback there, so the success message which is commented out. We'll get to that a little bit later. Now, if we scroll down, you'll see we have our header. Well, I actually want to take the header and move it to a completely different file. Do that too. Let's keep going down and see if we can add any more blocks. Actually, I can add one up here. The title might want to change. So let's do the same thing we've done here where we did block head. I'm just going to copy it and paste it inside of my tag. Where these go doesn't matter. But this is not the head, this is the title. All right, there's our title. Now, I want to end that block too. So I'm going to copy this again. And at the very end of the content, I'm going to type end block and title. That way I can change the title as much as I want on any page that implements the main template file. Any more that we'd want to do? Let's go down a little bit. Let's say we might want to change this hero image here. We like the tag, the div is fine, but what we can do is do a block here, and we'll call this block hero, for our hero image. And then we'll paste it in at the end, and we'll say end block. And make sure you change it to hero. So now you know that anything inside of this div here, the tag, the image, whatever you want, can be changed by simply adding to the block hero. All right, what else do we want to do? Well, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down a little bit more and see if there's another block that I might want to change. Well, for sure, the footer is something I'm going to want to do, right? So let's do a block footer. That's one of the things that we can paste in. So I'll come over and add block footer, and we're going to do that inside of our footer tag. That way it doesn't mess up our styles. Okay, we're going to tab it in. It's not necessary, but definitely good for cleanup. And then do our end block. All right. The last bit, the big bit, the one that matters the most is our content. This main area here that has all of this content, I'm just going to copy it all out and delete it. Now inside of here, then I'm going to create another content block or another block and call it content. And it's blank by default. That's fine because we're always going to want content on every page. So I'm going to end this block. And that's going to be the start of our template. The next thing we're going to need to do is actually create a template for each of the pages that we're going to serve up, such as index and contact. I'm going to do that by simply renaming the index.html file. I'm going to rename it index.twig. Okay? In fact, I'm going to rename it a little bit more than that because it's not just an index file. It's the about file. So rename about. Okay, now the next step here is the part that gets really interesting and super cleans up our code. Let's go here now and get rid of everything except for our content. So let's go here. We're going to get rid of all of this. We're going to get rid of all of the header. We don't need any of that. We're going to leave nothing but the content. All right. And at the very bottom, same thing. We're going to get rid of our main tag and everything here. Now I'm going to save this, and this is not going to work. We have to do a couple of special commands at the top to make sure we know what file we're trying to fix or what file we're trying to include. We're going to say with using a Twig template command that we want to extend our main template. So we do that by our 2 curly braces, our 2 percentage signs, and then a couple of spaces just for clarity. Then we're going to type in the keyword extends. And then in a string format, the file that we actually want to extend. So that's going to be main.twig. Okay, now that's going to get our header and footer, but it's just going to throw this content anywhere on the page. We actually need to put this inside of a content block. And the way we do that is the same way we did it here in the main.twig. So it says block content. We're going to do block content. I'm going to copy that over. Same thing, block content. Now, the only way it knows that this is content that's serving into a file is that we're using extends at the very top. I'm going to actually grab all of this that we have from all the way here to the bottom. I'm going to tab it in and then finish our content block by ending it with end block. Okay, save that file, and that should do it for us. Let's go ahead and see if this works just by going back to our index.php file. So we'll hit preview, and then we have a slim application loader error. Okay, it says we're unable to find the template index.html. Okay, there's a reason for that. We no longer have a template index.html. We only have a main.twig and an about.twig. Well, for us, we're not going to serve main.twig. We're going to serve our about page. So here, using our new views, we're going to render not just the index, but the about page. So about.twig. Now we go back and refresh, and hopefully that works for us. Let's head over and hit refresh. There we go, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's our about page. We've done this all by extending a big template. So if you look at our index.php, we've just simply said about.twig. And then for our contact page, we're going to do the same thing. So contact.twig. Okay, now using the same thing that we did here on line 21 to 23, rendering our about.twig, I want you to take the time to do the contact.html and make it contact.twig. And I'll meet you in the next video.